Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, in that order. Welcome, everyone. Regular Rollers time. Haven't done one of these in a while, so nice to be back in the swing of it. Thank you, everyone, as always, for all your great submissions. A lot of good ones I won't be able to get to, but I really appreciate it. And let's get rolling. Right after I mentioned that this week's list is brought to you by my boy, the Texas Snowman's Auction House, CIA Auctions. More on them coming up in just a bit. We'll start off with a total bargain pickup. This was sent in by Scott, who wrote, as a lifelong Yankee fan that only collects vintage, I was thrilled to spot this 1993 Derek Jeter SP rookie in a recent eBay Yankee lot. I worried that it might be a reprint or in rough shape, but it arrived genuine and in PSA 6 to 7-ish condition. A wonderful modern addition to my Yankee PC for less than $20 delivered. And yeah, you got a real steal here. It was listed as a buy it now, so not sure why the price was so low, but you got a great deal. You know, the Jeter is probably $100 or so by itself, and I'm talking about the card in the upper left, but you also got some other nice stuff in there. You got a Don Mattingly Topps rookie and another Jeter rookie upper deck. So yeah, congrats on that pickup. Next one was sent in by Hines, and I've owned many cards from this set over the years, but I did not know this story. Kind of cool. He wrote, I was a winning bidder on this 1995 Collector's Choice David Robinson Gold Crash the Game Gold Scoring Redemption Set, PSA 9. On face value, it seemed like just a common junk wax insert of a great player, not a GOAT. Kind of cool, but these were a dime a dozen, as we all know. The interesting thing was the process of actually obtaining a gold scoring redemption set parallel. The golds were randomly inserted one in every 49 packs. This 90-card set is a parallel of the more common silver. Each player was given 3 specific game dates. If the player depicted on the card scored 30 or more points on that date, the card was redeemable for a special 30-card Crash the Game scoring gold trade set. What I find incredible are not just the pack odds, but the human odds of staying vigilant of your cards, looking up the scores in the days before the internet, actually redeeming the cards, waiting for Upper Deck to reply, and then gently send the redemptions back, then storing and eventually grading said card at the height of the Upper Deck basketball junk wax era. All I can say is bravo, bravo to the collector's tenacity on this card. Next one was sent by Peter, who wrote, some crazy auctions ending today with all from one seller. Amazing lots of vintage baseball cards with many bids that will end up selling for hundreds and maybe thousands of dollars. The seller, however, lists them in the title and descriptions as novelties. Of course, this is an immediate red flag, but the photos look pretty good and the number of listings is bold for someone selling fakes. Just wondering your thoughts and what you could see from the photos. One thing I noticed is that many of the cards appear to have precisely the same extent of corner rounding, which is suspicious. Yeah, so this seller had a whole bunch of these listings all at once. Here's just one of them. You can see 9 pre-war cards, and there's some big money cards in here. 34 Goudey Lou Gehrig. In the lower right is a 32 U.S. Caramel Babe Ruth. Ted Williams 48 Leaf in the lower middle, and some other big money pre-war cards. These are definitely fakes. Yeah, like you said, the word novelties is immediate red flag. In the description, it's very vague, sort of like I think these are original and have a lot of value, but I'm going to list it as novelty type of thing, which is an attempt at a loophole. But it's also listed as original, so the buyer here could definitely return these for a full refund, and hopefully they do. Somebody paid, $1,800 here for 9 worthless, pretend cards. I can tell from the backs are where it's most clear for me. The Lou Gehrig, especially on the right, the coloring is just completely wrong. But anytime you see a listing like this with red flags, novelties or selling these as novelties, I would just stay away from these type of listings, especially if it's from a seller who does not have a lot of feedback or is not a very credible name in the hobby. Next one was sent by Philip, who wrote, great meeting you today at the Silver Spring Card Show. Here is a quad relic I picked up before the show on eBay. 4 Hall of Fame pictures on one card that is already over 15 years old, and only $10 all in with shipping. Yeah, it was great meeting you as well, and yeah, I totally agree. This is a great value card for the price here of $10. And you've already identified a couple of the reasons. It's 2008. That's not ultra modern anymore. That's 15 plus years ago, and you got 4 Hall of Famers on one card. How rare is that? And this was back in the day when they actually used actual game used pieces of the jersey on the card, as opposed to just little napkins pieces here and there. This is legit, a legit game used jersey of 4 Hall of Fame pitchers. $10, great value in my opinion. You got over 1,000 wins probably represented on this card. Sticking with early jersey cards, this was sent by Grant, who wrote, it always amazes me the prices that people will pay for rare, low-numbered cards from the late 90s. However, it seems like the big money does not carry over into the early 2000s. As a kid, I collected late 90s and early 2000s, which is what I still enjoy collecting today. I'm also amazed at what people will pay for young, unproven quarterbacks which you have discussed on your channel. 2002 Pacific Private Stock had game-worn jersey cards, including many numbered variations. One variation was the jersey piece appears in the shape of the player's number, and the card is numbered to the player's jersey number. I was looking at auctions and ran across a Matt Hasselbeck card numbered 8 of 8, which is a jersey number match. The auction was at 99 cents and had no bids. I was the only bidder, and I'm all in at $5. Hasselbeck is not a big name, but he was a 3-time Pro Bowl quarterback, and he led the Seahawks to a Super Bowl 40, where they lost to the Steelers. That kind of career is probably far more than half the first-round quarterbacks from this year's draft will achieve, yet this rare card is in the $5 bin. Yeah, I mean, you make a lot of great points. I don't have a whole lot to add. This is another great value pickup here. You know, I would have definitely paid $5 for this. I mean, serial numbered out of 8 from 2002. But Matt Hasselbeck's basically a forgotten player at this point. But yeah, like you said, his career will be far more impressive than many of the young quarterbacks today who have, you know, rookie patch autos selling for 5 figures and things like that. Next one is sent by JD, who wrote, I saw this auction up for eBay and I'm super confused by it. Looks like a lot of 5 cards from 1952 tops. They're all commons from what I can tell, and sure, they look like they're in good shape, but none are going to be a PSA 10s or anything like that, or anywhere close to it. The auction was bid on by a bunch of accounts with tons of feedback. Is there something I'm missing here? This looks like maybe $100 worth of cards at the very most, and I think I'm even being generous with that. Yeah, exactly what you said. This looks like, you know, a lot of 1952 tops commons, and they're not high numbers, and, you know, they're clearly not high grade. They're looking like they're in decent shape, but you would expect these to sell for maybe $10 to $20 a piece. You know, why on earth did this go for $482 in auction? Well, the best I can tell is there are many cards in this set, or there are some cards in this set that have different back variations, and some of the back variations are extremely rare. These 5 cards all came with a cream back and a gray back variation, and by the looks of the back, it looks like card number 174, Clarence Marshall, might be a gray back variation. The gray backs are very, very rare, extremely rare. You know, master set collectors will pay big dollars for them. To give you context, the last Clarence Marshall grayback variation to sell was over a year ago in any grade. It was an SGC 2.5 that sold for $700. So, you know, I think the bidders here are assuming that's a grayback or taking the gamble that that's a grayback, as it appears to be, although I'm not sure, but I think that's what they're banking on here. And now just a quick word from my boy Jeremy Donson, the Texas Snowman, regarding CIA.
Texas Snowman here. Just wanted to say thank you so much to all the bidders and consigners who have consigned with CIA auctions, and those of you who have gone to check it out, viewers of the channel. Really, truly appreciate all you guys and all the wonderful emails and loving support I've gotten, and I am so deeply thankful for you guys. Thank you so much. These two are outside the scope of regular rollers, but a couple of the highlights in the October auction is T206 Green Ty Cobb Portrait PSA 3 and a 2022 Bowman Chrome U Victor Wembanyama Auto Gold Refractor PSA 10. But diving into some more of the regular rollers items, we have stuff ranging from pre-war to current, and singles to lots, graded raw. Some of my favorites is a couple of 52 tops high numbers, one of which is nicely centered. Really tough to find that on those 52s. A couple of 90s insert Jordans. Personally, I'm a huge 90s insert Jordan guy. Hope you guys really enjoy it, and I am very much looking forward to seeing you in the auction. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good one.
And you can find all the info for CIA in the description below. Next one is sent by Sam, who wrote, I've been building a PSA registry of the Nolan Ryan basic top set. It's basically a run of his playing days cards, Topps cards from each of his 27 seasons. One of the cards I was still missing was his 1979 Topps, and I was willing to pay for a PSA 9, which comps had been averaging around 380. With a few this summer as high as 450. The week of the National, I saw the 1979 Topps Nolan Ryan PSA 9 listed on eBay in auction. It's an older label, but the card looked clean, so I threw in a low offer just so I could get notified when I was outbid or when the auction was about to close. My bid was for $280, and I forgot about it. Much to my surprise, I got notification that I'd won the auction for my max price of $280. That is a really good price for this card and way below comps. The only reason I can think of it went for so low in auction was that it ended on Sunday night, July 28th, which was the last day of the National. Maybe many serious collectors were still traveling home, or maybe a lot of people had blown through their hobby budget at the show. Either way, I got a great card for a great price. I would love to hear your thoughts on the timing of this. Yeah, I've noticed that as well. If you look to bid on auctions that are ending right as the National is going on, often they'll just go lower, and yeah, that makes sense. Probably a lot of potential buyers are not looking at auctions that week as they normally would. Next one was sent in by Pedro, who I stumbled onto this really funny listing on eBay. Maybe someday you can start a segment titled Absurd, Funny, or Misleading Titles, something of that nature. This listing in particular just really cracked me up. I bet other collectors find stuff like this all the time too. Warm regards from Portugal. Yeah, browsing through eBay, you'll find lots of listings like this, and I don't think they ever work, but maybe once in a while somebody falls for it and buys it. But this is very annoying, and it's actually not allowed on eBay. You can't make this sort of claim. 12 ungraded cards, definitely tens. I mean, basically you have 12 cards there that are worth 25 to 50 cents a piece, and he's listing it for $500. Yeah, if they were all PSA 10s, that $500 would actually be a pretty good price for these, but that would be if you spent $250 to grade them and they all came back tens, and stating up front that will definitely happen. Anyone who states that obviously doesn't know how the grading world works, or more likely they're trying to take advantage of somebody who doesn't know how the grading world works. Next one is sent in by Jay Clement, who wrote, I watched the ESPN film on Netflix, Two Escobars, and I was so taken by the story of Colombian defender Andres Escobar that I bought my first ever soccer card. I've collected since 1971, and I have nearly every baseball, football, and basketball card back to the early 50s, but I was so impressed by him and heartbroken by how he was assassinated that I had to have his rookie card. I picked up a PSA 7 for $62.54 all in. It will be treasured in my PC. He is a role model. That's a really cool card. I don't actually know the full story of Andres Escobar. I just know, like you said, he was killed after the 1994 World Cup for scoring an own goal, actually against the U.S. Colombia was playing the U.S. Colombia was heavy favorites, and Escobar scored an own goal, so the U.S. won 1-0, which knocked Colombia out of the World Cup, and later he was killed because of it, which is obviously very tragic. I remember reading that he was, a great guy. I don't know the details of it, but after reading your post, I'm gonna check it out a little more. But really cool card here to add to your collection. I didn't know that he even had a card, so that was cool to find out. And we'll finish on this one. It's not really a regular Rollers item, but it's a cool story. Sent in by Charles, who wrote, a couple years ago I bought an autographed 1954 Bowman Mickey Mantle. I paid $3,000 for it with the provision that it came back from PSA as certified and graded. I sent it to PSA. It came back with a poor grade PSA 1, and the autograph was authentic. The problem with the card is that it was inscribed to somebody named Rick. My name is Charles. A lot of people would step away from that because it was the name of Rick on it. I'm originally from a suburb of San Diego, California called El Cajun. My work transferred me to Tennessee in 2019. So this card sat on eBay for a little over a year, but finally the right person looked at it and was really interested. He offered me $2,000, but I told him the lowest I could take was $3,900. So eventually he did actually do the bid for $3,900. The kicker is this 1954 card that was personalized to Rick was eventually purchased by someone named Rick that was born in 1954. And on top of that, he lives in El Cajun, the suburb of San Diego that I lived in prior to moving to Tennessee. A really cool story there. Congrats on the sale, and congrats to Rick for finding this card that we'll say was personalized to him. But that's it for this episode's regular rollers. Hope everyone enjoyed, and remember, whether you are high or regular, keep on rolling. Thanks everyone.